So after seeing this performance against the Dallas Cowboys, guys, is there any reason not to play a two-quarterback system the rest of the season?
Not with this crew. There's no reason not to keep a two-quarterback system. And this is the encouraging thing about this game. I felt like the Texans had a chance to pull this upset off, but at no point did I feel like the Texans might think, hey, this is the way forward in 2023. I would be really worried if Jeff Driskell came in and it was just him and he ended up having a really good game and he passed the ball 4 times, but the Texans were in it. I worry that somebody might think, hey, this is the revolutionary way that we're going to move forward. This just feels like something we'll enjoy for the rest of 2022 on into 2023, and then it'll be done and gone forever.
Hey, where's Jeff Driskell been in this game plan? I mean, it worked well the first couple of weeks of the season, but they totally went away from it. Here's what this game told me. Playing two quarterbacks like that with Davis Mills and Jeff Driskell tells me the Texans management does not believe in Davis Mills is going to be the number one quarterback going forward. If they did, they would have him every snap of every offensive play because they thought, here's the guy that can make it happen no matter what the game situation. But after today, we know full well Davis Mills is not going to be the guy going forward. And Texans management told us that today.
It seems like there's about a 60-yard range that the Texans feel comfortable Davis Mills performing. If it's their own 20 and deeper, no. And if it's the other team's 20 and to the goal line, that's not Davis Mills territory. So I'm with you. I think that they should continue this two-quarterback system.
Let's get crazy. Let's do a 3-quarterback system, huh? Like, why not? Let's throw Kyle Allen in there and see what happens. Maybe he can throw a pass from the wide receiver spot. I mean, let's go real crazy. Look, there really is no reason not to do this because at least it makes it entertaining, right? I mean, we've watched bad offensive football all season. And now there's a little bit of unpredictability with this offense, which not only is it a little bit more fun, but at least keeps defenses on their heels a little bit because now they're pretty much locked in that Pep Hamilton's going to run the ball on first down, okay, almost every time. And so at least now if you have a two-quarterback system, at least it makes it fun. So why not?
But the element of surprise now is gone, though, Seth, correct?
Yeah, the element of surprise is gone, but it is one extra element that you have to prepare for. This quarterback that can run in Jeff Driskell. Now teams have to prepare for the zone read. They have to prepare for Davis Mills' tendencies. Jeff Driskell, as we saw today, he can throw the football, which is a surprise to many of us who have watched a lot of Jeff Driskell. So you don't want to tempt fate too much because he also has the ability to throw it very errantly. But that was when he did throw the ball today, it went well. So I think you can use his arms sparingly, but like the throw to Chris Moore that almost was a touchdown, he kind of had to bend it around a defender. So throwing on the run, that's an element that Davis Mills doesn't have. Davis Mills as a pocket passer is better than Jeff Driskell. It's a team is almost going to have to prepare against a complete quarterback instead of a half quarterback.
After hearing all of that and knowing what we saw with our own eyes, who's holding this team back more? Is it the quarterbacks or is it the offensive coordinator, Pep Hamilton?
You know, the answer when a team is as bad as this, it's always some version of both. But I think there are a lot of other offensive coordinators who could at least do more with these quarterbacks. I think that Davis Mills has some potential to throw downfield that we haven't seen this year when we did see it last year. And then I do think, too, that Pep doesn't do a good enough job making up for the issues that the Texans do have, namely the offensive line, a lack of actual playmaking tight ends, all of these things where Pep Hamilton wants to line up in these really heavy formations and somehow physically mash people when they don't have guys who are physical mashers. And that's what we saw down on the goal line. And not to mention this fixation with Rex Burkhead. I don't understand it. I don't know who's in love with Rex Burkhead or why or what favors were done or what I don't, maybe Rex Burkhead saved somebody's child from drowning 10 years ago, but there's no reason for him to be the guy in there at any point in a critical situation at the end of the game.
Veteran leadership. That's it. Veteran leadership. Hey, you ever go on a short trip with your wife and she wants to punch in Siri to give us the road map. And you're like, I know how to get there. It was almost as if Lovey and Pep decided, okay, we're going to do this. Okay, Pep, you know how to go. We don't need a punching series. And it worked. This offensive game plan, the map was working well. And then we got down to, we were just a mile or so from the destination, and Pep forgot his way. And it was like he got lost there when it was first and goal inside the 5. He couldn't think of a good play to call. It was just amazing that I don't know what happened. I mean, I know the last play looked like a total mess, but the play calls themselves were a mess. And that's what bothered me. They should have scored there and locked up the victory. It just didn't happen because Pep Hamilton couldn't pull the trigger on the right play.
Yeah, I got to give your colleague at Sports Radio 610, Seth, Sean Pendergast, some credit for the postgame show. He said that, today there was no Brandon Cooks and there was no Nico Collins. And that's happened several times this year already. And it's kind of like, that's okay. They're gone. Yeah. I mean, there's like a huge impact that they're gone, right? And I think that goes to the play caller putting guys in positions to get those big-time playmakers, your supposed playmakers, to make an impact. But they're not there, and it's still not much of a difference that they're not there. I thought that was a good point. I think that's one of the big takeaways this year is that Pep Hamilton has really been disappointing because he's been this highly touted coach and he's worked with quarterbacks, and you'd think that some of that would translate over to some play calling. Yeah, he's had some moments where he's drawn up some things, and like Matt said, today was creative. I thought they did a nice job mixing things up, but overall, man, I mean, I just think it's a boring offense to watch, and he's just not doing a good job using the pieces that he has. Now, whether those pieces are good enough to win, I'm not sure. He's just not doing enough to use them.
And Seth, you mentioned the mashers up front or the lack thereof. We always encourage all of you out there to send us your feedback. I got an email from Don S. earlier today. He mentions how our channel, in his perception, it's always about the quarterback. That is not the problem with the Texans. It is the offensive lineman. Put Mills behind the best O-line in pro ball, and you will see a great quarterback. What the Texans need to do is draft or sign free agent offensive linemen. I came into this season thinking that this offensive line was better than last year's because you added a first-round pick and you had Laramie Tunsil back, and Davis Mills has been worse.
Yeah, and part of the problem is that first-round pick at offensive guard is not playing well at all today. And some of these breakdowns that come are a combination of sometimes quarterback play, sometimes offensive line play, tight ends who can't block, wide receivers who aren't all that electric. I think I would disagree with Don that A, it's all that easy to assemble the best offensive line in football, and B, that's the panacea or the solution. If you're the worst at something, which the Texans offense is worse at many, many things, there are going to be multiple things wrong. So it's never just one thing. It's multiple things. It includes the quarterback. It includes the tight ends. It includes the offensive line. It includes a lot of the guys on defense. It includes the head coach. It includes the offensive coordinator. I mean, if all it takes is to go in and have multiple first-round picks on your offensive line, guess what? The Texans have multiple first-round picks on their offensive line. They're not doing a good enough job. So we'll have the whole offseason to address this. It'll all be fine. It'll all be fine, Don.
Well, now the big question is, will Lovie Smith be a part of that problem-solving process? With 4 games left now, can Lovie do anything to save his job if we believe he is on the chopping block?
Okay, I told you before that this was a kind of game that was fun because the Texans were in it, but they might not be fooled. They won't be fooled into thinking, oh, yeah, we should have 2 quarterbacks next year, too. I'm a little bit more nervous on the coaching side of things because this feels exactly like the kind of game that a defensive coach looks at and thinks, yep, conservatism is the way because we forced timeouts on defense and look at it. We were right there at the end. We could have done it maybe. That's what makes me nervous. And I don't think this is sustainable. I think it was a matter of the Cowboys coming in and not taking the Texans seriously enough. The Texans, to their credit, playing their butts off. Jalen Petrie doing a lot of good things, but it's not the path to a championship.
Hey, Seth said a few weeks ago, he said he loved the symmetry of the Texans record, 1-8-1. Well,
Yeah.
now, Seth, you gotta love the symmetry. 1-11-1. I mean, we're 1-1-1-1. We're number one, Seth. You gotta love that.
The Mayans etched a stone statue about this. We found it in the rainforest not too long ago.
Well, about Lovey's future, I don't think he can do anything to salvage it. He could win these last few games and still he's gone. I mean, a perfect example today was he did not challenge that what looked like a potential touchdown there on that last drive. Where was the red flag? I mean, at that point, if you lose a timeout, no big deal. Those are the types of things that are going to get you in trouble when you go through the critique with the general manager and the owner. And it's just a series of things. And I thought Lovey was great. Show up, show out. When he came with the slogan, he was a calming influence on the organization. I thought that was needed, but these Texans need more. And Lovey is a great guy, but I just think they need more going forward.
I think the decision's probably already been made. Let's be honest. I don't think he can do anything to save it at this point. I just think when you look back at this season, there have been multiple instances where Lovey has approached this team as one that is supposed to be contending. Like, okay, we're gonna try to kick field goals here, and we're gonna try to keep us in the game, and we're gonna do. Guys, this team was not going to win. There are multiple times where he could have really rolled the dice and really done some fun things and gone for it on fourth down and done some trick plays here and there. And that just really hasn't been a part of it. Now, the Texans could look at Lovey as, okay, we're still building this. We're just going to keep a guy who's been in the league for a long time. That's why I think the decision's already been made. And maybe that's why they go with the Lovey Smith, that, okay, we're going to be in this process for a couple more years. Let's have a guy who's had experience in the league. It could really go either way. People ask me if I think he's going to be gone. I now tend to lean towards yes, but next year they're not going to win either. So what's the point of bringing a brand new coach? The only benefit is that you'll have a brand new quarterback.
Well, and I think it's important to remember too that last year when Lovey was hired and when David Culley was hired, it was not a desirable coaching destination because of the quarterback issues, especially last year. Deshaun Watson hadn't yet been traded. Nobody was really sure. A head coach stepping into this situation just knew that it was a team without draft picks and a bad cap situation. This year, it's actually from a strictly draft asset and financial standpoint a very desirable location. Then it's on ownership and everybody else to convince them of that. But I think that last year they hired because they had to hire.
And credit to you, Matt, because last week you said the Cowboys are always good for a clunker, and that was a clunker today. We'll see if the Chiefs provide a clunker next Sunday. I'm guessing that won't be the case, but we will definitely see you, Seth, here on Sports Extra.
Yes, I'd love another clunker.